Hi, everyone, and welcome. Thank you for joining us today for Ready, Set, NetSuite, a demonstration of NetSuite ERP from the team at Luxent. Today, we'll give you a quick introduction to NetSuite, the world's leading cloud ERP platform, and Luxent, a premier NetSuite partner that helps businesses grow with NetSuite as they select, implement, and integrate technology that takes them to the next level. We'll take some time to show you a live demonstration of NetSuite's capabilities and wrap up with an overview of pricing and packaging. As you have questions during the presentation, please put them into the Q&A panel. We'll answer as many as possible or follow up with additional information. We're also happy to schedule a tailored demonstration for you and your team so that we can answer specific questions about the ways NetSuite can meet your business's needs. Before we dig in, I'd like to introduce you to the team on today's call. Vivian Kina, Luxent President and CEO, will join the discussion after the demonstration. Vivian has been in the ERP space for over 20 years, working with hundreds of companies as they adopt and scale technology solutions to help them grow. Ben Katerberg is the director of Luxent's NetSuite practice and our chief solution architect. Ben comes to you with over a decade of ERP experience and a wealth of industry and best practices and insights. Katrina Sandgren, our head of sales, is a longtime leader in the NetSuite ERP space and helps companies get the right NetSuite products at the absolute best price. Finally, I'm Laura Ginsberg, Luxent's director of marketing. I've worked in software and cloud solutions for almost 20 years now, and I am constantly excited about the new capacities I see in the marketplace. So with that, I'm going to pass things off to Katrina to tell you a little bit more about Luxent.
Thank you, Laura. Luxent was founded in 2009, and we're located in Southern California, and we're excited to be celebrating our 16th year. We have consultants who are all across the United States and servicing customers throughout the US as well as throughout the world. We are a premier NetSuite solution partner, which allows us to be a full provider to our clients. We can do everything from the beginning to the end. We assist our companies during the selection process in providing demos and helping you negotiate the NetSuite licensing. Our goal is to ensure that you've got the right modules at the right time, that you're getting the best discounts, and that you are protected on the renewals in the future. We also do the implementation services, deploying NetSuite and setting it all up, and then any development or customizations that you might require along the way. We also work with coordinating with any third parties that you might need to work with if there's any third party solutions or doing integrations and so forth, and manage that piece of the project for you as well, and provide ongoing support and services even after go live. So you're always continuing to optimize NetSuite and get the most out of the product. Our focus is really establishing a long-term partnership with our clients and becoming a trusted advisor. So we're in it for the long game and not just here at the beginning and then move on. We do have a deep bench of consultants who have a lot of experience both in the NetSuite space as well as just in industry experience. This allows them to offer, best practices as we're helping you through setup of NetSuite and run your business the most effective way possible. We primarily focus, we work with companies of all sizes, starting from just startup companies getting started, even some who are just getting their products ready to go to market, all the way up to hundreds of millions of dollars in revenue. We do primarily focus in the manufacturing, distribution, service, and software. We have some sub verticals specifically in food and beverage and medical device. We also work with a number of private equity firms who have multiple organizations running NetSuite, and will help give direction on how they can most effectively set up NetSuite for the different business entities that they work with. We also have a Salesforce practice and offer some products that are on the Salesforce App Exchange, which is our IQ CPQ integration, IQ CPQ quoting tool, as well as Link, our integration tool between Salesforce and NetSuite. With that, we will go ahead and turn the time over to Ben Caterberg to talk more about NetSuite.
Thanks, Katrina. So just before I get into the demonstration sharing a demo account of NetSuite, I just want to talk a little bit here about NetSuite as a whole, some of the numbers, and a little bit about some of the features and benefits organizations gain on the platform. So NetSuite started as the first cloud ERP back in 1998, and they've continued to build out their product offerings over nearly 30 years without having to retrofit their platform like other ERPs with a cloud offering. With its verticalized solutions, it's got a flexible platform that allows growth and expansion without having to do costly upgrades, and also kind of multi-country localization. Through those capabilities, NetSuite's been able to gain the trust of over 40,000 customers around the world. And just speaking to that growth trajectory, over 6,000 new customers in the last 12 months. So why go to NetSuite? What are some of the benefits that you may gain with the NetSuite platform? Visibility, number one, visibility like real-time inventory, financial insights that you can gain immediately without having to necessarily look for a daily delta from like a BW system. As soon as I post a sales order fulfillment, I have a financial transaction for my cost of goods immediately showing in my P&L. Another huge benefit is the additional controls. So NetSuite does have a lot of system validations that help to prevent costly mistakes. Another huge benefit businesses gain is increased agility, agility to make decisions more quickly with those real-time insights from data and analytics and the controls in place. By its nature, NetSuite is a collaboration tool. So NetSuite allows the collaboration between teams with features like reminders, notes, tasks that can be assigned out to individuals, and follow-ups. In many cases, organizations stop using as much SharePoint tools or email tools because all that collaboration can be input into the NetSuite ERP on its own. And then finally, productivity. So NetSuite offers a lot of automation tools that can be easily configured, with user-defined workflows that can save hours and hours of manual work. So when NetSuite started, it started purely as a financial system. And of course, over the years, it's grown well beyond kind of the core financials and accounting functions. Other financial features where NetSuite's kind of expanded is more in revenue management, for instance. So organizations who maybe sell a product, but then may have warranty services. So we have that flexibility of, as you expand and grow your business into other kinds of products, you can add on additional modules to grow and expand with your business. Another key feature here, another module within NetSuite, is the global accounting and consolidation features. So as you start expanding maybe into new countries or acquiring new brands, you have the capability of doing a global consolidation and rolling up financials to kind of that parent level entity as well. And also having the flexibility of multi-country, multi-language kind of support within the platform. So I mentioned before about NetSuite kind of being modular in nature. So the nice thing about being modular is that you can start off with NetSuite with just the basics, just the core financials. And as you learn the product and you grow and expand and in your capabilities as an organization, you may start to move towards more and more enterprise level kind of features, all the way up to things like, the FP&A planning and budgeting modules, or a full kind of analytics warehouse tool that NetSuite has. But it just speaks to the nature of, as Katrina mentioned, anywhere from a startup company who is just kind of learning where they fit in the market to organizations in the mature status. There is features and capabilities to support any of those organizations during their growth journey. All right. So with that said, I'm going to start sharing my screen with the NetSuite demo account. Some of the things to be on the lookout for, especially on the topic of more growing businesses, are some of the segmentation tracking that we'll show. Things like tracking sales channels. So if you are expanding into multiple channels, EDI, retail, in-store, Shopify, e-commerce, you'll be able to see some of the flexibility of the segmentation in the reporting. We'll also kind of look at some of the financial consolidations, of multiple legal entities, either multi-country or just simply different ownership structures. And then looking at also, international expansion and other kind of localization features as well.
Ben, can I interrupt you with a question while you're getting the demo loaded up here?
Yeah, absolutely, Laura.
So we've gotten a couple good questions coming in already, and I think it's a great segue from what you were just mentioning. Can you speak to, what are some of those, KPIs or inflection points that you tend to see where a company needs to be thinking about making a move to NetSuite? Is there anything that you kind of see in particular, or that you would recommend folks are keeping their eye on as they're wondering when and if it's time to make an investment?
Yeah, I think that's a great question. Some of the specific things I would always look for is any organization that has multiple entities. It's always very challenging to track financials in a spreadsheet or with any sort of QuickBooks tools that doesn't quite have the same kind of financial consolidation capabilities. Any organization that's thinking of going international with their products and services, or even something as simply as tracking inventory. A lot of organizations may start on QuickBooks just for financials. They don't really have integrated inventory, so they don't have confidence in their inventory. Any one of those things can be a trigger to migrate towards NetSuite. But even beyond that, we've had startup businesses that just have very high growth prospects where they know that they just have a handful of employees today, but their product they know will sell and do well in the marketplace. They don't want to have to hire lots and lots of people. They'd rather start on a platform with integrations where the orders just flow in through those integrations and they don't have to hire more people to do manual work. All right, so I should be showing my screen here. What you'll notice here is I'm in a browser. This may be like a Edge, Internet Explorer, Edge, Google Chrome. You can access NetSuite from anywhere as long as you have an internet connection on any internet-capable device. So obviously I'm on a PC here today, but there's also a app for your phone if you want to be able to track financials and gain some of those insights from your mobile device. But anywhere you have access to an internet connection and you have a browser or an app, you can access NetSuite. You just enter netsuite.com, enter your login credentials, and it'll take you to your home landing page. So part of the controls benefit that I mentioned earlier with NetSuite is you have various roles, and within the roles, you have limits and capabilities for each user. So right now I'm logged in as a senior executive role that gives me a certain level of visibility to the data in the transactions in NetSuite and the financials. But what I'm going to kind of demonstrate is kind of pivoting towards a couple different roles in this demo account that show me different things based on whatever my job function is. So you'll see a lot of commonalities across the various roles as well. So on the very top blue bar, I'm just kind of hovering my mouse over these little center tabs is what they're called. You can navigate through the center tab links. You can navigate from any one of these HTML links on the screen, whether it's on a reminder, one of these dashboard tiles. I can click on any of these. These are all different ways to navigate within NetSuite. And there's always many, many ways to do the exact same thing in NetSuite. So it is a flexible user interface that allows your users to set up their dashboards the way that they're most comfortable navigating within NetSuite. So the next thing you'll see here on the upper left-hand side, this reminders portlet. All dashboards typically have a reminders portlet, and this is a lot of the workflow and collaboration that you will see in the NetSuite platform. So I can see on this reminder, I have a handful of lots that are nearing expiration. So I'm using lot controlled inventory. And it's nice to have these reminders that tell me, hey, whether it's 30 days, 60 days, 100 days in advance, let me know when I have inventory that I need to use up before it's no good anymore. Just going to go to setup and show you a lot of the other reminders. When you buy NetSuite on day one, a lot of these dashboard reminders and data queries and reports are already in NetSuite as soon as you buy it. So you don't have to build all of these from scratch. It's not like this is just a big, beautiful demo that has all of the stuff that you'll never be able to have in your own account. This stuff is part of pre-configured bundles that we load into your account on day one. So you don't have to think about all of the different things that you need for your reporting. You'll already have a baseline of reports and reminders in your environment. So within this reminders dashboard here, I can click and add additional reminders here. So a lot of kind of approvals, like cycle counts to approve if I'm in the warehouse. I can do, item receipt lookups, items to order, for instance, where I might have planning triggers that tell me when I need to generate purchase orders, journal entries to approve, late purchase orders. These are just data queries that I can create manually or manipulate from existing and set them up as reminders and link them to my dashboard. So here's overdue bills. I can look at POs to approve if I have any sort of approval workflow. So I'm not specifically having to just continuously email people and say, hey, did you see this PO? This needs approval. I can have those set up as reminders and pop-ups within my NetSuite login. Once again, dashboard tiles here I had mentioned. These are just kind of single click quick links. So on my senior executive dashboard, I've got budget to actual reports as a quick link, P&L reports as a quick link. I can add anything I'd like as a dashboard tile with an icon on it for quick links here. I have KPIs. If I want to modify some of these KPIs here, I'm just kind of hovering over the 3 dot setup. And let's say I want to add an additional KPI. I'm just going to add a standard KPI. And let's add COGS. COGS, let's look at this period versus last period. Or if I wanted to change the range I'm looking at, I could do that, then save. And you can see how easy it is to easily update and modify some of these dashboards right here on the fly. So I can see here my COGS down 98.2% this period versus last period. I have some more quick links to various transactions and reports, AR aging, AP aging here. I've got some graphical displays. So any report I create, I can set up as a graph and display, with a line chart, bar chart, to kind of display my financial data in a more easily digestible way. Let me flip over to, I'm going to go to my CFO role to start. And then kind of on the topic of growing businesses, let's take a look at a couple financial reports and see what we can do to kind of pivot and look at a couple different views of the organization in this demo account based on, let's say I made an acquisition, right? And I want to be able to see my balance sheet by my legal entity. So let's see this period. Yeah, let's go as of this period. Here is my balance sheet. The far right column is the total, so I can see kind of the summarized balance sheet values, but then I can see it pivoted out by columns of US 1, US 2, Vietnam, headquarters, Canada, and I can see my balance sheet pivoted out here in this financial report. And all I had to do here was just change my column. If I wanted to add additional filters, right? Maybe I want to look at a balance sheet for a specific location or for particular customers or anything like that. I can add additional filters in here very easily. If I look at my income statement, we can do the same thing on the income statement. So I can look at the consolidated subsidiary context, or I can pivot out my columns to look at a P&L by subsidiary, right? I can also do some other kinds of segmentation, like product classifications. So if I set up different classes for my product, and when I transact with them, it's going to start building a P&L by product class. So you can see here I've got some groceries, some frozen foods, right? And then I have a P&L broken down by each of those different product classifications. We talked about kind of growth by sales channel. Maybe you're purely in retail and you want to expand to e-commerce. You can start running some of these reports by sales channel here and do these same kind of pivots. So where you see the product classes here, I could create a sales channel and pivot it by sales channel. So then depending on the customer relationship, that can flow into my financial reports as well. So I can do that analysis. The nice thing too about financial reports in NetSuite is that everything has drill down capabilities. So if I see my total revenue for frozen foods is 66,929, I can just click and drill into the makeup of those details. So these are all very specific invoices for very specific customers. Looks like Alpha Demand customer is the sole customer who's buying all my frozen foods. And I can click into any one of these and bring me to the underlying specific transaction. In this case, it's an invoice that created that financial posting. So when you think about an audit, anytime you're running through an audit and you say, hey, this number looks a little fishy, you can use NetSuite to drill down to find out, hey, did somebody make a mistake on this particular transaction? And then make a correction. As the CFO, obviously I've got very different reminders here. I've got some periods to close as a reminder. So NetSuite helps to simplify the period close process with kind of a step-by-step checklist here. As you can see, the first 3 tasks are to lock my AR, AP, lock all. I have some prerequisites here, so I can't resolve, negative inventory or date period mismatches until I do the things before, right? So very, very simple to do period close. I can just mark all, submit, and I've got all of my AR locked for all entities, or I could do each entity, alone by itself. And then move to the next task, so this makes period close very, very simple. And that's why NetSuite was publishing a lot of statistics saying that companies who run NetSuite are able to close their books in less than a week when most organizations may be, 2 weeks, 3 weeks to close their books. All right, once again, I've got various KPIs, monthly sales trends, income by period, a couple financial KPIs here. I also have different tabs up top that are going to be relevant to the role. So the CFO, obviously they have a vested interest in customers, vendors. But if I flip over to, a sales role, for instance, I may not have access to vendor information and some of those kind of role-based permissions. So let's pivot over to, let's go to another role here, like a supply chain manager role. Maybe we're in operations, supply chain, and look at just a handful of the features there. So once again, same kind of reminders portlet, but very different reminders here. So this is, purchase orders to approve. I've got some planning alerts letting me know that I've got some late work orders here. I've got triggers from demand planning. So I've got 11 items to order or 2 assemblies to order or build. And I just kind of opened one of these. This is my order item screen. All of these are triggers from planning based on the method. So maybe I have some raw materials that are based on reorder point and stocking levels, min-max levels. When I trigger those reorder points, so the very first one here I can see is I had a reorder point of 5. Right now I'm back ordered, so I actually don't have enough quantity. So the system is recommending I order 18 to bring me back up to my stocking level and include the back order amount. And I've got a preferred vendor already and preferred pricing here. And so all I need to do is just check a couple boxes of which items I want to order and submit. And NetSuite's going to automatically create purchase orders for me. And it's going to consolidate them by vendor. So I don't send 5 different POs, one-line POs to the same vendor. Some of the other kind of KPIs from that supply chain manager role here, obviously I can look at what's the value of my inventory today versus same day last month. So I've net increased my inventory 5%. My orders have dramatically plummeted here, 40%, this month versus, last month to date. The value of my work orders or the value of completed work orders, I've skyrocketed here for my current period or current month. And once again, any one of these, if it's showing me 10,000%, I may want to click into that and show me, hey, where are you getting these values from? Oh, here's the list of work orders. Right. Here's some metrics here around my inventory sales, my top 5 inventory sales. So 37% of my sales for the month are this item here, 2390183. But as you can see here, any of those types of metrics, those reminders, you can add them to your dashboard and have that instantaneous kind of notification, real-time information at my fingertips here. I'm going to pivot here to sales manager role. So NetSuite also has its own CRM that's built into it that comes with every instance of NetSuite. So the CRM is going to have a lot of details around managing your contacts and your leads and your prospects. So I have a lot of these reminders here for my sales manager looking at leads, prospects, or customers without sales in a certain amount of time. Pop that open. I can look at orders that were created today, contacts without any sales activity. I've got 6 opportunities here to close. Some of these dashboard tiles here are reports, sales reports. So I can look at, if I'm a sales manager, I can look at my team or a regional manager and kind of roll up their forecast or roll down to individual sales reps here. And I can look at my sales forecast based on right now the current month. And once again, I can do forecasts based on product classification as well, or sales channel that we discussed, right? If I want to look at, e-commerce versus, retail, I may create different forecasts, start building those forecasts and then comparing them to maybe a target. And then once again, the drill down capabilities. Just like any report in NetSuite, I can drill down to the individual details that make that up. If I have any reports that I want to export, you'll see on the bottom right-hand side, I've got kind of one-click links to export to Excel, export to PDF, CSV, Word, print. I can email it, or I can set up some of these reports to run. I can have them run more than once. Maybe I don't want them to run during peak hours, as NetSuite is informing me. So run at the end of the day, run weekly every Thursday with no end date. And then I can copy others. I can add any other employees or other groups of individuals and start copying them, and they get an email based on the recurrent schedule I have. I can add attachments to the email as well, have certain messages that are configured, and then do I want it to be sent with a CSV attachment, PDF? Kind of define what format they get, save it, and that will trigger systematic emailed reports on those schedules. And I can do that not only just for my sales reporting, but for any financial reporting, any of my operational reports, inventory reports, any of that, I have that flexibility. Right, and then just going to run into just a handful of other reports here. So I'm logged in as administrator just to kind of show the full breadth of a lot of the other reports. So obviously we've got a lot of planning reports here. You can look at item demand, over time, and then leverage NetSuite to generate demand plans for you based on history. A lot of different purchasing reports, looking at either open POs, PO history, purchase by vendor or by item. I have a lot of financial reports, of course, cash flow statements, exchange rate reports, or intercompany eliminations and reconciliations. So if I start making acquisitions of other entities, and I start having maybe exchanges, buying and selling of inventory between those entities, I can have NetSuite auto eliminate my intercompany reconciliation pieces here. So I have reports that can view those. And if I expand internationally, I start transacting in multiple currencies. I can run reports based on exchange rate gains and losses as well. On the inventory side, I've got valuation reports, so I can look at the value and quantity of inventory by SKU and drill down into those details. I can look at a current inventory snapshot, look at a physical inventory worksheet. I can run reports on inventory profitability. So here's an inventory profitability report showing me by SKU. Here's the total quantity sold for whatever period I have here. The total revenue, the percent of total revenue, and gross profit percentages here. And by the way, any one of these reports that come canned out of the box, I can customize them, add additional columns to them. So if I want to see more detail around, the sales of specific kind of inventory profit reports, I have sales data I can add into here. I can add more costing data into here, or data that's directly on the item master records I can pull into any one of those reports and create a custom view of that report as well. All right. So once again, I think you can see how flexible, how in-depth NetSuite allows an organization to go. And that's why NetSuite can support anywhere from a startup organization all the way through kind of mature enterprise level organizations. So with that said, I'm going to turn it over to Vivian, unless there are any more questions that came from the chat. Laura?
Yeah, we did have another question, and thanks for the demo, Ben. A good question here, kind of for both ends of NetSuite as well as Luxent. Question about operating in highly regulated industries, both how NetSuite can handle that and ensure that all of that is kept up as it needs to be, as well as Luxent's expertise. I think this is specifically in the food and bev space.
Yeah, absolutely, Laura. So I guess back from where we had started with our initial kickoff of the demonstration, Luxent, we do specialize in medical device as well as food and beverage. A lot of times there are some overlap in some of those regulatory requirements. So specifically in the food and beverage space, we see a lot of FDA compliance requirements. In medical device, we see a lot of GMP requirements. And so one of the services we offer as well at Luxent is we offer the service of actually performing a lot of the regulatory testing and validation that's required from those various industries. So we have in-house experts that will actually ensure that your environment is compliant with those standards. And when we find little gaps, for instance, we have a couple common customizations we'll make in NetSuite to ensure that your FDA requirements are fully met by NetSuite with system controls, not exclusively just business process controls. But generally, a lot of those controls are always going to be a balance. So as an organization, you'll have to determine if you think there are strong enough business process controls, and if there are any holes there, we can talk about adding additional kind of system controls and validations to ensure that you're maintaining compliance. A lot of things come up around lot traceability, for instance. So there are already tools within the food and beverage modules that allow you to overcome a lot of those compliance issues, specifically in the food and beverage space. All right.
Excellent. Yeah, thanks so much. Vivian, I think we'll go over to you. And Vivian, you might be on mute if you're talking.
I was on mute. Thank you. Thank you. I was on mute. So I'm going to talk a little bit about pricing and partnership. So when to buy NetSuite, you could, like Ben and Katrina both kind of alluded to, we've worked with companies from their initial start of a product to companies that are on legacy systems and deciding to move off of them. So there's a number of places where it fits and makes sense to buy NetSuite. Outgrowing your accounting system, you're starting to manage a 3PL and you're starting to need greater control over your inventory. Like I said, the legacy software, or just preparing for greater growth, right? We've seen a lot of companies that were on systems and then suddenly call us because they have to get on a new system because either they're getting, approached by Target or Walmart, or their Amazon sales are considerably increasing and they need to get on a system quick. So it's always better and more effective to kind of lay out the plan and be able to do that in a less accelerated approach. So preparing for growth is important. Go ahead. So a number of differences, right? There's two channels where you can buy NetSuite. You can buy it directly from NetSuite. And initially when NetSuite got started, small companies coming off of their accounting system, it made sense to buy directly from NetSuite. Now that, there's more specific industry and the complexity and the NetSuite has expanded in its use and functionality, they built the partner channel, and they built the partner channel specifically for companies that have more complexity, like medical device and food and beverage and many of those other verticals out there, so that companies can get the help they need from both, what software to buy, when to buy the software and kind of align that the best for you to help you from a best practices and business perspective, to be able to build a really strong long-term relationship with your partner. ERP, selecting an ERP software is a long-term investment, and you want a partner you can trust and you can grow with. So when you're buying from NetSuite, you're buying from a sales rep who is trying to sell you a lot of software within a very short amount of time, and then you're moving on within the organization, which is a large organization, to kind of bounce around and really build a relationship with. So it's a significant difference. We're really looking out for your behalf on the contract and long-term investment. We're trying to, even on the renewal side, when you renew, we're protecting you on your renewals and know how to negotiate with NetSuite. And work with all of the third parties. So, NetSuite is a phenomenal base, and I have never seen a more flexible application from both reporting. But one of the things that it does really well is it integrates really well, open API, very simple to integrate to anything else that you need. And we support those integrations. We oversee them, we manage them, we make recommendations to what are the best integrations or best tools to be using other than NetSuite or in complement with NetSuite. So you have a partner that is looking out for all of the different aspects of your investment. If you're a PE firm, we can build you a master services agreement that you negotiate once, and you can bring on multiple companies onto that agreement. We also do something called a common model. So if you're bringing on a lot of companies within a specific vertical, we can build a common model and speed up that implementation time of bringing those companies in and drive more efficiency into the process. So lots of things based on the years of experience we've had in working with PE firms and working within specific industries that we can help to drive more efficiency and more just improve that whole process for you. So you can go forward. The NetSuite pricing is broken out by the modules you select or what you need, the requirements you need, and you don't need to buy it all up front. And the users, the number of users, and there are these 120 is for your core users, and there are different type of users based on limited use. So we can discuss the different type of users. And then NetSuite came out with a starter pack, right? So they're starting to come out and be very aggressive. They want customers to be considering starting with NetSuite early on. So they started with the starter pack, and that's something that we can talk to anybody about and give you pricing on. So those are the three components. Obviously, the 120 per user is the base price with before negotiation. And we will really effectively and very aggressively try to get you the best price you can for the NetSuite product. You can go forward. So the next steps is really schedule 20 minutes with us. Let us sit down with you. Let us understand your needs or what you're considering. If you're a PE firm, what kind of companies you're bringing in, how we can best help you, how we work with other PE firms. If you're someone from a specific industry, sometimes we have a lot of IP that we've built already for a specific industry. And we can help in kind of rolling out more efficiently the implementation. So spend 20 minutes with us. Let us give you a price on what the NetSuite product would cost, so you have some budgetary numbers, and then what the implementation would cost. And we're happy to do that as a next step. There also is a pricing guide that we've built. It goes into a lot of detail on NetSuite pricing. And you can fill out the form and request that after the webinar. You can go to the next slide. I think that's it for me. So thank you guys. Thank you for joining, and we look forward to hearing from you. Laura, did you want to take it? You good?
Yes, I'd love to. Thank you so much. We had a couple more questions that came in. So Ben, maybe I'll put you back on the spot, if you don't mind. We got a good question from a business. Sounds like they're mostly growing through acquisition. Other companies that they're bringing on either have no ERP whatsoever or something very old and no longer being supported. Any kind of baseline thoughts on what we're looking at in terms of time and investment to integrate acquired companies and get them all running on the same system?
Yeah, it's a good question, Laura. So our similar experiences working with kind of some other PE firms is the very first step we always take is we start with what Vivian mentioned as the common model approach. And that's where we work with your business to ensure that we have alignment of some of the core, financial structures, for instance, and find alignment with a lot of the business process design. So once we have alignment on business process design, we kind of document it by process area, procure to pay, order to cash, each of those process areas. Then what we're able to do is onboard new acquisitions very, very quickly into that common model. And typically, if you're already leveraging some integrations like an EDI integration or a Shopify integration, you can bring on board a brand new business leveraging those existing relationships in the common model. I've seen as short as 2 months. So you can do it very quickly, but there's obviously going to be a couple factors involved there around how good and clean some of their legacy data is. Do they have clean items, bills of material if they are a manufacturer of sorts, and then how many trading partners they might have if they have EDI connectors. But like I said, it can be as short as 1 to 2 months even. If it's simple, they don't have a lot of integrations. Or if you need to bring them in with some of those other integration partners, it can maybe be 3 to 4 months with other integration partners.
Great. And I think that's a perfect segue to the final question that I have here. And for anybody else that has questions that they're hanging on to, please feel free to put them in. Otherwise, we'll follow up with you afterward. But in talking about integration, Can you talk about some of the industry specific software, point of sale, e-commerce, wholesale distribution, other things that are straightforward to integrate into a NetSuite platform?
Yeah, I would say some of the most common things we find in the industry, whether it's, I would say first and foremost, food and beverage. A lot of organizations may use a 3PL for managing their inventory. So that's one of the more common integrations is integrating your NetSuite ERP with your 3PL. So you can have real-time live inventory of receipts, adjustments, shipments. And then e-commerce is huge. So integrating with your e-commerce platforms, whether it's, a Walmart.com, a Shopify site, those are very common and easy to do. And then lastly is the retail space. So a lot of food and beverage organizations especially have a lot of retail stores where they have relationships, a Walmart, a Target, Whole Foods, Costco. And so working with a partner to help set up those retail EDI connections with those various trading partners are some of the very common things we see, and we have a lot of experience working with those partners.
Excellent. Well, I think that'll do it for the questions that I see here. If folks have additional questions, there's a email address right on your screen in front of you, sales@luxent.com. Happy to answer any questions or provide a more tailored demonstration that matches your precise business needs. With that, we're going to wrap it up today. We are recording today's session. We'll get that out to you. Thank you again for making the time to join us, and we'll see you soon.